Welcome to this week's edition of Leading the Way, powered by the Institute for Corporate Productivity. Influential people, high-performing organizations, creating a culture of success. And now your hosts, Scott Murray and Angel Carlton.
Hello again, everybody. Great to have you along on this Sunday afternoon. We're going to be here till about 5 o'clock here in the North Texas area as we continue on with yet another edition of Leading the Way. Each and every week we speak with the top CEOs, leaders of major companies, corporations, nonprofits, and organizations, and they discuss their great success from leadership to innovation to collaboration to strategy to diversity, agility, talent, culture. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I'm Scott Murray.
And I'm Angel Carlton.
And we will be your able-bodied hosts during the course of the next 60 minutes, so we're delighted to welcome you once again. And I would be remiss if I didn't, on this Sunday afternoon, also say this is a special Sunday afternoon, not only because of the great guest that's going to share some great wisdom with us all here shortly, but it is Mother's Day.
Yes, it is.
And I know you have been a mother for a number of years, so
about
Angel,
21.
Happy Mother's Day.
Well, thank
21.
you, Scott. Yes.
You just told me the other day you just became legal. How do you have a son 21?
I still feel 21.
Oh,
How is
right.
that even possible? I don't even know.
Well, congratulations on yet another Mother's Day.
Thank you.
Another milestone.
It is. It's a special day. And happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there who understand the sacrifices and the rewards and the joys that motherhood brings.
And you are a mother to one son, right?
Yes.
All right. About to be 21, huh?
Yes.
My goodness gracious.
How about that?
So he's probably, graduating college? Is he in school now?
Yeah, he'll be a senior. Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Well, let me just very quickly, before we get to our special guest, best part about being a mom, what comes to mind?
Gosh, just watching your child grow and evolve into such a caring, compassionate young man. He's got such a good heart, and that's just been the most rewarding part for me.
Sounds like you did a pretty good job along the way then, huh? That just doesn't come automatically, you know.
He's good-natured.
All right.
You know, there's some of it's luck. I
Understand.
think, but
Been there, done that.
You see a lot of yourself in him, and that's kind of cool too.
Good for you. Well, I actually work with my son, so that's kind of cool. So I have great respect for him, and hopefully it works the other way. I think it does, so that's a good thing. Well, let's get down to why we're here today.
Absolutely.
We're talking about leading the way, and of course our presenting partner, I4CP, the Institute for Corporate Productivity, continues to stick around and be a part of all that we do. They're incredible stuff that they share with us each and every week. And I say stuff, I mean it's above and beyond. And you, of course, are a director with I4CP.
Yep. And for those of you tuning in for the first time, I4CP, as Scott said, is the Institute for Corporate Productivity. It's a Seattle-based company. We are a human capital research firm. So we discover the people practices of high-performing organizations, help improve workforce productivity for some of the top companies in the world. We work with Amazon, Microsoft, Starbucks, Ford, 3M, and hundreds of other major organizations. We share our empirical data with our members. We connect them with their peers. We provide them with resources and tools so they're equipped to outperform their competition. And if you want to learn more about I4CP, just visit our website at i4cp.com.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well, I'm really excited to introduce our special guest today, because, as we had a chance to meet him personally about a month and a half ago when he spoke at the I4CP conference in Scottsdale, Arizona. And we went, whoa, this guy knows a thing or two about what we're talking about. So let's get this guy on the air sometime. And here we are. So now sit down. This is going to take a little bit because this bio goes from here to Lubbock. I tell you, it's a long one, but it's great stuff. It's good. Michael Bush is his name. He's the CEO of, I love this, of Great Place to Work for All. Isn't that something? I like that. It's a global analytical authority on high-trust, high-performance workplace cultures. And he provides analytics to 10,000 organizations in over 57 countries on the planet. Also produces a number of annual best workplaces lists. And I'm sure that you've seen those before, Angel, including the popular Fortune 100 Best Companies to Work For list. I love that. And prior to that, and prior to all that he does with his Great Places to Work, he was the CEO of Tetra Tech Communications, a billion-dollar global telecommunications infrastructure firm, and he was also a member of President Obama's White House Business Council. Earned his MS in management from someplace called Stanford University. That's pretty good stuff right there. And as a matter of fact, the mission of his company, and I really like this, build a better world by helping organizations become great places to work for all. Now that I like. Talk about inclusion, huh?
Yes.
What we talk about each and every week, exactly what we hope to do with Michael here on Leading the Way this afternoon, is be one of the best places to work and be one of the best shows that he's ever been a part of. We'll find out if he likes it at the end. But in the meantime, we say hello to Michael Bush. How's that for an intro?
It's a fantastic intro. Thank you, Scott. Thank
Way
you, Angel.
too much information,
welcome.
right?
No.
Well, welcome.
To be here.
Now, you're from California.
From California.
Up in the northern sectors.
That's right.
So, what do you think of the great state of Texas? Do you like to come here?
Beautiful state. Yeah, it's been beautiful since I've been here, and I just can't believe the construction that's going on. I think everybody wants to be here, clearly, and you're getting ready for everybody coming here.
Well, we had
from
Jim
California.
Lentz. Yeah, right.
That's true.
That's exactly right. And she plays to exactly where I was going. Angel said from California. Jim Lentz, the CEO of Toyota North America, was a guest of ours 2 or 3 months ago, and he talked about just the transfer that they did from California to Texas.
Yeah.
And we had a chance to see the incredible culture and their campus that they have just north of Dallas, and it is unbelievable what they've done. So it's great. So some of these people, it took them a while, but they finally found out what was going on here in this great
Secret's
city.
out.
The secret is out.
That's
definitely.
right.
And I understand you were here earlier this week speaking at the Four Seasons in Las Colinas.
Yes.
What was the focus of that event?
Yeah, that was a diversity event for leaders of people who run large multifamily housing businesses and corporations. So they came together, some of the top leaders in the U.S. and actually around the world, to talk about diversity and inclusion.
Awesome.
So it was outstanding.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, we are really excited to have you here today, and can't thank you enough for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us. We start things off with a little something we call the lightning round, Michael, and it's just 5 questions, quick answers, but it kind of gives the audience a little idea of who you are, what you're all about, maybe a little more from a personal standpoint than just a professional standpoint, okay? So buckle up. If you're ready, we're ready.
I'm ready.
All right, sounds good. First job, and what'd you learn from it?
First job, scooping ice cream at Baskin-Robbins.
No kidding, I like it.
That was my first job where I got paid. I worked for my father he was a carpenter, so I did some of that work. But the first job where I got paid was scooping ice cream.
What'd you learn from that?
I learned that you had to scoop every scoop 2.5 ounces. and that really mattered at the end of the day. If you overscooped, it wasn't good for the business. If you underscooped, the customers weren't happy. You had to practice, and get it right. I learned measurement was really important. So I got a good understanding of inventory control and also the responsibility of meeting a customer face-to-face all day long. And if you do that right, it's really good for business.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Wow, all great lessons. Who knew? From ice cream.
No kidding.
Chocolate chip mint.
Yes.
My favorite.
Well, let me jump in there and ask, because I know you got the next question here, Angel, but play off of what you just shared with us. When was it that you said, you talk about measurement. When did you realize, I really want to focus on the things that you do day to day now? You talk about the top 100 companies in America. Where did that all come from, and when did you decide that's the analytical side of the world that I want to be a part of?
I like numbers, and I love numbers. Okay. So that's one of those things I think that is nature, and then it gets nurtured. And I was fortunate my parents nurtured it. So I remember at night, when the store would close, we would push all the ice cream down in the barrel and measure with a ruler to see how much ice cream there was left in every container and how much we sold that day, and we'd know if we were over scooping or not.
Interesting.
So I was just captivated by that and the power of data to know, did we do well or did we not do well? We would know after we did that inventory. So numbers became important, and they've remained important. And so I think that when you're talking about business and you're talking about how people are treated and the experience that they have at work, you need to have numbers. Talking about the right way to treat someone isn't really that useful if you can't help people understand, well, actually the way you treat people is going to influence the numbers, like revenue and profitability.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, data is playing such a big role today. Wow. So the next question in our lightning round, who were your top 2 mentors in life, and how did they have an influence on you?
My top mentor is Dan Whalen, who's currently my business partner. Oh, yes. And I met him over 25 years ago. So he's had a huge impact on my life, both as a business partner, but he was a person who taught me to use my time, talent, and treasure to make things better in the community, and to do it while I was working. Don't believe that you can work, be successful, and then do good things in the community. Do them both at the same time. The and is very important. As a matter of fact, he would say that it's arrogant to say that you're going to succeed in business and then do good things in the community, because you might not be alive to do good things in the community. You just don't know what life's going to do. So you need to do it now. The present's very important.
Great lessons.
Yeah, I like that. Very much I like that. What's been the most significant experience or turning point in developing your skills as the leader that you've become?
I think the most significant experience was probably 2000 in March, when the dot-com bubble bursted and business collapsed everywhere around the world. I was actually out of the country at the time, and it's just every place you turn, there was nothing but bad news. There was no good news to be found, and that was a turning point. Going through it was horrible. Absolutely horrible. But as I look back, it was a defining moment. Our business got through it with a lot of luck and good fortune and a lot of hard work. And I learned you can get through anything through that. And I learned the way to get through it is how you treat the people. At a time like that, how you lead and how you treat people, we cemented the loyalty and the teamwork between us, which just propelled us coming out of that bust. So I learned at the worst moment that what do you need to do? Take care of the people. That's number one. Then you can work on your strategy and your tactics and your financing and things like that. But it's people first.
Very interesting. Michael Bush is our special guest. We're going to be back with lots more of Leading the Way right after this. Leading the Way. It's about influential leaders and the business practices leading companies use to impact market performance. That's what the Institute for Corporate Productivity, or I4CP, does on a daily basis. We work with leading companies, from Amazon to Boeing and REI to 3M, to not only discover the best people practices of high-performance organizations, but the next practices, those that will define market leadership in the years ahead. Senior HR, learning, talent, and diversity executives from many of the most respected companies in the world rely on I4CP to ensure that their efforts will make the greatest impact on the business. After all, it's difficult to stay ahead by only looking behind. I4CP's focus on next practices is what today's top companies rely on to lead the way. I4CP, Institute for Corporate Productivity, leading the way every single day.
And now back to Leading the Way, powered by the Institute for Corporate Productivity. Here's Scott McMurray and Angel Carlton.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We are talking today with Michael Bush, CEO of Great Place to Work. And Michael, we're continuing with our lightning round questions. And the next one is, knowing where you've come from, where you've been on your journey to success, what advice would you give somebody, a young professional in today's changing world?
The advice I'd give is there's always something that we don't like doing. Both in our personal lives and at work. And at work, it's important to learn how to get comfortable doing that thing we don't like to do. Creative people don't like the numbers, oftentimes. You need to get comfortable with numbers. Numbers are very important in business. And there are some people who are very good with numbers, but aren't that great with people, in quotes. You need to get comfortable connecting with people, and you can start by listening to people. But these are normally things that some people say, well, that's just the way I am. You can do better, and your business is going to do better if you become more than just the way I am and are willing to try and develop some parts in yourself that are uncomfortable, but it's really going to pay off.
Always good to stretch yourself, challenge yourself, learn something new, and get out of that comfort zone.
That's right.
Absolutely.
People appreciate it.
The one theme that I've already heard from what he's shared in our lightning round, which I love, because it's exactly what I like to think I'm all about, or I try to be about in my life. Kind, courteous, respectful.
Yeah.
Everything you've said deals with those three verticals.
Absolutely.
So good for you. So that leads me to my last question then. How would you define the legacy you've created and continues forward?
I don't think I've created much of a legacy, so I have a lot of work to do. But I hope people say that I'm kind, courteous, and respectful. That would be absolutely fantastic. I hope people say that he was a good husband, he was a good father, and he did great things in the community, and he was a successful businessman. I hope people can say all those things.
What's an example of doing something great in the community, in your opinion?
What I've done for a long time and continue to do is work with others on the most complex problems in the community that I live in. Problems like homelessness, problems like kids going to school that haven't eaten before they got to school, problems like people working 2 jobs but really not making enough money to support their families, problems like people working and not having health care. So these are basic, complex problems. Those are the things that I've been really attracted to, and have tried to put my time in, as well as my treasure, whether it be personal or corporate, because it's one of those things where it doesn't seem to me like it's somebody else's responsibility. It's my responsibility.
Right. Absolutely. And it is. It's all of our responsibilities to care about our fellow human species.
Straight across the board. Absolutely. Every single day. Well, I tell you what, let's get to the interview questions that we've got for you, Michael.
Sounds good.
As I think back, and as I mentioned to you earlier, we had a chance to hear you speak a couple of months ago at the annual I4CP conference in Scottsdale, Arizona. So the first question I've got for you today is, very interesting to hear you speak about the great places to work being all about innovation and leadership. Then you kind of painted a portrait of a great place to work. So can you share with the audience the insights with our listeners, some of the things that come to mind? Paint that picture for them. What would that look like, that whole scenario?
Yeah, I think many people have experience with a great place to work, and everyone has experience with a place that wasn't so great to work.
Right.
And
True.
And so as we think about it, and when you talk to people, and we survey people, about 3 or 4 million people every year, the things they say are that they want to be at a place where they enjoy the people that they work with. They want to be at a place where they feel like the people that they work with care about them, and they want to care about others too, even the introverts. And when you care about people that you work with, you go the extra mile. It's been proven. So you have a sense of pride, and it affects the quality of your work, the intensity of your work. And we also expect at a place that's a great place to work to be treated a certain way by the people that we work for, by the leaders. And so we want to be respected by the leaders. We want to be listened to. We want to be spoken to a certain way. We want our ideas to be fully considered. Those are signs of respect. We also want leaders to speak to us in an honest way and in a fair way. And that means that if you ask a leader a question, you're going to get an answer. If somebody else asks the leader that same question, they're going to get the same answer. There's not going to be a group of people who get one answer and a group of people who get another answer. And that leads to fairness, which is probably the most important thing. People want to feel that they're being treated fairly by their leader. And you can actually, our data proves that, for example, let's say men and women. If men and women are both feeling that our leader treats us the same, not very well, they will say, this is a great place to work because it's fair. Fairness is super important. But when you're feeling like one group's being treated one way and another group's being treated in a different way, people say this is not fair, and then they have a very negative perception.
And there's that division that occurs too.
That will naturally occur. And so those are the facets of it. The rewards on the other side of it, Scott, that you began to mention, are that when people have that experience of a great place to work, to find that way, which is really about respect, credibility, and fairness, they bring their full selves to work. That's the thing that's unlocked. When people are commuting to work, they're thinking about what they could do to get something done faster or get back to the customer sooner. When they're mowing the lawn, they're thinking about what they could do at work. This just naturally happens. You can't buy this. You can't buy the commitment and unlocking the creativity inside of people, which gets innovation going. So our research has shown that right now, and looking to the future with technology coming, it's all about innovation by all. Innovation can't be in the hands of a few people. Innovation can't be in the responsibility of top management. They can't innovate fast enough now. It's just not possible. They're just not capable enough. You have a whole workforce, as much of it as possible, focused on innovation. We call that innovation by all. And the way to get innovation by all is having for all leaders.
We're definitely going to want to hear more about that.
That's what that's all about.
Absolutely, because we talk a lot about innovation on the show, and we talk a lot about diversity and inclusion. And you spoke earlier this week, as you mentioned, on that topic to the multi-housing industry here in Dallas. So how does diversity and inclusion play a role at ranking towards the top of the list as a great place to work, Michael?
We have what we measure is something called maximizing human potential. That's what we do, because we believe that's what it's all about. Because sometimes with diversity and inclusion, people can think about the differences, and which should be respected. But the thing that should be held in common is everybody should be bringing their full potential to work. So it's a unifying theme. Everybody is paying employees a salary. They're paying employees some benefits. And why not have that employee that you're paying bring all of themselves to work? If you're not doing that, you're leaving money on the table. So you don't have to spend any more. You just have to treat people in the ways that we're describing. So what we do in our survey is we measure it. We measure the differences in the work experience between full-time and part-time employees, between engineers and non-engineers, between men and women, so that we can show leaders, you've got these gaps.
Right.
This group of people is having a fantastic time, and look at the results. They're awesome. When you ask them, do you expect to work here a long time? They say yes. That's it. We ask the question, and that's what they say. Somebody else who's having not as great a time, do you expect to work here a long time? They go, maybe. They're not as committed. So you want to be able to have both groups have this the same experience. So we chose to use maximizing human potential, and we choose to say for all, so that everyone is included. Sometimes when you say diversity, people think you're talking about certain people, but you're not talking about everyone. Start counting numbers and looking at just representation. And we feel like that slows down what you should be doing, which is just getting the most out of absolutely everyone. And when you create that kind of a culture, everybody feels involved and included, as they absolutely should be. And then you can work on things like representation. Because if you don't have a place that's inclusive, when you get change the representation, people aren't going to stay.
Right.
Got about 2 more minutes before we have to take another break. So let me ask you, play off of some of the things that you've shared with us. Somebody out there listening saying, oh gosh, I'd like to work for that company. So they think, we need to change where I am. So if companies know these things will make them better, what might be the reason or maybe the hesitation for not changing to some of the things that you've just shared with us?
I think it's fear. It's fear.
Okay.
People are, especially right now in 2018, most businesses are doing fairly well. Small businesses are having trouble because it's hard for them to hire people right now. But big businesses are doing well. Balance sheets I don't think they've ever been better than they are right now in this country. So why change? Why should I change? Because if I change, I might lose something that I have today, or not get something that I want. This is the basic human reaction, I think. I don't think it's racism. I don't think it's sexism. We have those things. I think it's this other thing. It's this has been working. And so what the data is showing is that if you will do something that's uncomfortable, like question your beliefs on this issue, the data is showing that you can actually make more money. You can do even better. The pie can get much larger if you're willing to create a great place to work for all. If you're willing to go beyond what you're currently doing and get more people involved in it and challenge your leaders to lead in a different way, which starts by the CEO leading in a different way. So they have to take the risk and walk through this fear and get to the other side. I think that's what it is. I know this. I talk to CEOs all the time, and they will go, Michael, those things sound really good, but things are going pretty well. And I'm like, look at this data, because we have the data. We have the data that the companies on our 100 best company list outperform the S&P 500 by a factor of 3. Not a factor of 2, a factor of 3. That there are investors, hedge funds that solely buy our list companies and have done that for 20 years. And the results are public. Fortune magazine has done articles on how these people have done. So for us, you don't have to do it because it's morally right. You don't have to do it because you should treat people respectfully. Maybe you weren't raised by parents like ours, okay, who have that belief. If you just want to be a hardcore capitalist and make more money, this is the way to do it. And it's more important now than it was in the past. Elon Musk just tweeted just a few days ago that he underestimated the power of human beings in his automation path, and he says he's paying for it now.
Interesting.
He just tweeted that. A guy who's been all about robotics just tweeted, I underestimated it.
Interesting.
I underestimated. So he's figuring it out. One of the leaders in implementing automation in technology.
Yeah.
So I think we need to follow that guy. I thought it was an awesome tweet, a humble thing to do.
Absolutely.
By a leader, and we need to follow.
Yeah, and it's not about what's happening right now so much as it is about setting the organization up for the future. And I think because so many industries have been through such transformation that they're actually enjoying this kind of nice, smooth time.
Absolutely. So the fear of upsetting the apple cart.
Absolutely.
Leave it alone, right?
Makes sense.
All right. We're going to be back with more of Michael Bush here on Leading the Way right after this.
What are best practices? Are they what set you apart from your competition? Or are they simply what most companies do to stay in the race? At the Institute for Corporate Productivity, or I4CP, we focus on next practices. And that focus is what today's high-performance organizations rely on to lead. Next practices are tactics and strategies that our research has discovered have a great impact on market performance, but that few companies are using. They are what will define market leadership in the years ahead. I4CP helps you see around the curve so your company can adapt and take advantage of emerging trends in the ever-evolving world of human capital. We want you to lead the way. So join our team, I4CP, Institute for Corporate Productivity, leading the way.
And now back to Scott Murray and Angel Carlton and Leading the Way, powered by the Institute for Corporate Productivity.
Welcome back to Leading the Way. Scott Murray along with Angel Carlton as we talk to some of the greats, some of the top CEOs and just the great leaders in our world today, and Michael Bush is certainly one of them. Great place to work, and he's talking about what it takes to be the best place in America, to be a part of something very, very special. Angel, you want to continue forward?
Sure. I mean, it is fascinating to look at the lists of the best, especially when talking about things like your 100 Great Places to Work list. I mean, what an honor to be on that list. So what is it that separates these companies from others? And I'm really curious about the type of leader that leads these organizations.
I think number one, Angel, is the type of leader cares what their employees think. They survey their employees. So I think that's number one. That's what all these companies do. And their employees know that they're being surveyed. So that creates an accountability for management, because if you survey and don't do anything, morale goes down. It works against you. It's better not to survey at all. So these leaders are willing to step out, take a risk, and see what their employees think. And then they get results that enable them to know how much trust there is in the organization. That's one of the things that we measure. So these leaders care about trust. These leaders care about whether their employees are experiencing the values of the company. These leaders care about their leadership teams and how they're treating each other and the people who work for them. These leaders care about innovation, and they understand that there's an experience that employees can have that creates more innovation. And these leaders care about financial growth, which is kind of obvious. And these leaders care about maximizing human potential. So that's the thing that sets these companies apart.
Oh, wow. And that's And not only they survey them, they take these results, but it sounds like they also put into action. But the change into action, which also builds that trust.
That's right, because if you don't, you're going to hear it in the next survey.
Right, or they won't take it. What difference does it make?
We don't see them anymore.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, Michael, you're certainly most familiar with I4CP and the information it studies and certainly shares about the important elements of high-performing organizations. So I4CP has shown that two of the most important elements right now are collaboration and agility. So my question to you, Michael, is this. How do these two elements play a role at the high-ranking companies you deal with at Great Places to Work?
Yep. So we're very much aligned with I4CP, very, very much aligned with their findings, their approach, perfect alignment, as a matter of fact. So here's what we know. People aren't going to collaborate And people aren't going to be agile if they don't trust the people they work with and the people they work for. It's as simple as that. Agility requires a leader to say, you know what, we were going down this path. We decided we're going to shut off that product line and invest that money in the other product line. And we need everybody to move, and we're going to redefine jobs. We may do some plant relocations. They say a whole bunch of things. Normally what happens is employees freeze, because they're afraid about what's going to happen to them. They're not ready to follow. When you have a high trust culture and people trust the leader, they're like, let's go. And we ask the question, do you have confidence in where the leaders are leading the company and how they make decisions? That's how we know this. So these aren't my opinions. These are proven in quantitative data. Trust drives agility. Collaboration as well. If people don't believe that the people that they work with are competent and are capable and are trustworthy, and if they don't care about the people they work with, they don't care about their ideas either. You can't collaborate without caring, without listening and feeling that you're listening to. So we think the foundation for collaboration and agility, the data is pretty clear, is trust.
Amen to that. That's huge. And the leader setting that example, being agile, herself or himself, also sets the tone for the team, for the employees, and helps build that trust too. Yep. So agile leaders are really important in driving that. So you know, talking about agility and collaboration, which is front and center today, I think we talk about it all the time on this show. Have some fun with us and share with our listeners as we become even more of a high-tech world today. What the great places to work, what will they look like in the future, in the next decade or so? And the ultimate leaders, what will they be like?
I think in the next decade, for sure, there will be a way. I think this is 2 to 3 years away. Employees are going to pick where they're going to work based on the leader they're going to work for. It's not going to be the company. That's going to be the huge shift. So leaders need to get ready. Because there's a new level of accountability coming. Many companies are right now surveying their employees every day, kind of a survey question a day. Many companies are surveying their employees every week. And some companies, some people listening might say, that sounds kind of crazy. It's a growing trend, because people are realizing you need to know what your employees are experiencing, and you need to react now. You can't do it once a year. That time frame is too slow. So I think that there'll be, just like Glassdoor exists right now, as a way for companies, for people to find out what it's like to work at company XYZ, people are going to be able to go and see what it's like to work for Michael Bush. Beyond just the reviews that somebody might randomly or anonymously publish, I think there's going to be a way to know, does Michael Bush survey his employees, and what are they saying? There's going to be a way for that to happen that is believable for the person looking for that kind of information. So I think that's going to be the biggest change. It's going to be about leaders having badges that you are a great leader based on what your employees say. And then companies are going to be working hard to make sure their leaders are great leaders.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Love that.
You know, and I tell you what, Michael, is the two of us sit here and listen to what you're saying. It's most intriguing to both of us. What you get what you get a chance to be a part of every single day. It really is neat. So I'm kind of curious what you enjoy most about the job that you do, traveling around the country, sharing the message that you're sharing here on the radio with us today. But what it is that you enjoy most about the world that you are involved with today. What comes to mind?
Yeah, the thing that makes you feel the greatest is something that I'm unprepared for every time, which is to be at a company that is recognized as being one of the 100 best companies to work for. Mm-hmm. Or, we have other lists, small and medium-sized business companies for women, et cetera. And when a company wins that, the leaders are happy and proud. The people go crazy. I mean, they go crazy. They are playing music. They are at the ice cream social. We get all the videos. They go absolutely crazy. People really love this. The leaders underestimate this.
Because they don't just think a great sense of pride? Is that what it is?
Oh,
it's a huge sense of pride.
Yeah.
And this is about us and the people, and and the people that we work with, and the public recognizing what they are already feeling. And then they want more of it. so they just work harder at it. It's spontaneous. It's hard to explain. I get to see it. Yeah. And so that's truly remarkable. The other thing is a moment where you're talking to a leader who is kind of stuck, wanting to keep doing what they're doing, and they become curious. Something happens. Something personal happens, and they kind of open up. I've seen this where I work with a CEO who will say, I've got 3 daughters. I want them to be treated a certain way when they enter the workforce. These are powerful moments, and it affects the way that leader leads. Or some experience that their sister has, and all of a sudden they go, wow, I didn't know that this happened. These kinds of things happen. So I enjoy being with leaders where something is happening personally in their life that affects the way they want to lead and go forward. And I get to experience that. Because there's some leaders who believe everything they're hearing on this broadcast. Mm-hmm. They believe everything that I4CP does, all the things that we believe in. And then there are leaders who absolutely do not believe it. And they let you know pretty quickly.
Why would they not believe it? Because to me, so much of this is, first of all, it's intriguing, and I go, oh, gee, I never thought of that. But for the most part, it's common sense.
It's common sense to us, Scott. I'll tell you, it's not common sense to everybody.
Really?
Okay,
even if they see the results?
Even you can show the stock market results, you can show the growth in earnings, you could show the growth in market share, you can show the growth in revenue, you could show the growth in innovation,
right.
Number of projects funded, all the data that we're able to show, that I4CP is able to show.
Well, where does that negativity or that pushback come from?
I think it's fear. I really think it's fear because, for example, people will contact us all the time and go, hey, we'd like to be on your list. What do we have to do to be on your list? Well, first we survey your employees. Click. They'd much rather fill out a survey or something like that. Just kind of ask management to respond. Once you say that, because for our list, the score is determined by the employees. Management can't shape it. It's determined and driven by the employees, and you can see it. As soon as you say it, they will go, oh, wonderful, we'll get back to you.
Right.
And we don't hear from them. We don't hear from them.
Well, and then what's the process? So you do
So they're gone. Okay, they're gone.
Those people are gone.
They don't come back. The other people go, okay, I think this is interesting. Talk to us about it and get us some references. And then they say, let's run the survey. And from the time that you say, let's run the survey, you can run it 24 hours later. Email the employees, and depending on sizes, we get out a statistically significant number. The employees fill it out within a couple of weeks, and then the software gives the company results, and they can see where they have some problems. And every company has pockets of greatness in it. Every single one. I mean, it doesn't matter. We survey companies that are putting people in mines in the earth in very dangerous situations in tough places around the world, and you will find pockets where employees will say this is a great place to work, and you'll go, really? Mm-hmm. Okay. and then you study it. It's the leader.
Yeah.
It's the leader of that group who they will say things like, he'll do anything for us. We ran out of water. He ran up the hill and got us water. Things very basic, just like that. So it's not about the wages. It's not about being in the tech sector. And in Bogota, Colombia, and in Dallas, Texas, workers want the exact same thing: to be treated with respect and to be treated fairly and to be communicated with in an honest way. It doesn't matter. These are the basic things that unite us as humans. We're not different. We're actually exactly the same in how we want to feel about the people we work for and the people that we work with.
So the survey determines the ranking, and then they go back and they do the work to improve their ranking. Is that
so? The survey determines the ranking. It spits out a number, and there's the number, which is an algorithm based on trust, values, innovation experience, financial growth, maximizing human potential, and leadership effectiveness. It massages those. Bang, there's a number. Bang, there's the ranking.
Unbelievable.
It's as simple as that.
Love it. And I love those lists. I'm a list freak. It doesn't matter what it is.
You are.
I'm a list freak. And so I love things like that. Final thought. We've got about 30 seconds left. So I'd like you've just given us a plethora of knowledge, all kinds of information. This has been wonderful. But You've got the platform. You've got the stage. You've got 30, 45 seconds to share with us now the most important message that's the takeaway from everything that you've shared with us today. What's the one thing you want people out there that are employees of whatever company they might be, or maybe they're a CEO, whatever it might be. What's the takeaway and what's the message that you'd like to share with them all?
If you're a CEO, the message is you got to know what your employees think. You got to know what they're experiencing. So it's just not random thoughts. It's what are they experiencing? So find a survey tool that's going to enable you to do that. It all starts there. And then you get the results. You got to hold your leaders accountable. You have got to find a way to measure the experience that employees are having and holding leaders accountable to that. You can't keep holding leaders simply accountable to numbers that have to do with profit and loss, budget performance, and things like that. You got to hold them accountable to this thing too. And it's becoming more and more important. We have the facts to back it up. If you're an employee out there, try and encourage your leaders to do a survey. To give it a try. And I'd say if you're young in your career, I would really look for companies that seem to be doing this. Mm-hmm. They might be working with us. They might be working with others. I would look for companies that are doing business with I4CP because that means they care because it's serious work. And I would pay attention to companies that aren't. It would be a way for me to know what the leaders are caring mm-hmm. about. What are they investing in? And these are two examples that, not the only examples, but two examples that they care about the experience that you're going to have when you go to work there.
The name of the company is Great Place to Work. He's the CEO. His name is Michael Bush. We can't thank you enough. You have been just great. Thanks for taking the time.
Been awesome.
Thank you, Scott, and happy Mother's Day, Angel.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you much, Michael. We'll see you down the road, I'm sure. Continued success.